Hi everybody, I am going to share with you a chocolate delight recipe. Everybody knows how to make chocolate delight, but I got some great tips from Carol Ensminger, I think that's how you pronounce her name, and Katie Dambro. Katie in fact called me and gave me some really good tips and advice, so I'm going to share some with you, and plus I'm going to add some of my little twists to the recipe. First, you take a really good brand of coconut oil. This is the Gold Label Tropical Traditions. I have a link to it on my website where you can purchase it. But I'm going to take, I think the original recipe called for equal amounts of coconut oil to cocoa. But I'm going to cut back on the amount of cocoa by about 1/4 of a cup. For every cup of coconut oil, it would be 3/4 of a cup of total cocoa. And the cocoa, I'm going to use half of the dark cocoa and half of the regular cocoa. So here we go. Okay, here's a tip I have for you. I've opened a new jar and I'm using a ice cream scoop to get this stuff out because it's hard. You know, it's a hard substance, and so just putting any kind of spoon in there is not going to work well. But an ice cream scoop works really well. So that's my first tip in scooping this stuff out. And I'm making a big batch of chocolate delight, so I'm going to be getting 2 cups of this stuff. Okay, so you can tell that it's in a liquid state now. And my second tip comes from Katie, actually, who said that once you melt it, then you let it sit for at least an hour, if not 2 hours would even be better. So you just let it sit and cool off. It doesn't go back to a solid state, it actually stays liquid at room temperature like this. So that's what we're going to do, and we will come back and revisit it later. Tip number 3. This is from Katie as well. Sift your cocoa so that there are no little knots of cocoa anywhere. And that's what tends to cause some of the bitterness that those of you who've had bitterness have been tasting. It comes from the little packets of, I call them cocoa pills. And if you sift it, it actually makes it into a fine powder. So, and also I like to sift it because I'm mixing 2 different kinds of cocoa, the dark cocoa and the regular cocoa. That helps. And I have added a little bit of the stevia to this because it's in powdered form. And summer sweet in this because it is in powdered form. Okay. So after it's been sitting for about an hour, then you're going to add the liquid chocolate stevia. And also, Katie Dambro said to add vanilla cream liquid stevia. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to mix it with this drink mixer. It's this handy little device that will really mix it up in here. And I think the reason that we let it sit is because this stuff is heavier than the coconut oil, and we don't want it to drop down to the bottom. We want it to be evenly dispersed. So I'm going to add, I like to add 2 droppers full, and then 1 dropper full of the vanilla cream stevia. Another tip from both Katie and Carol. Carol found these little silicone shaped, she's got some different ones. These are the only ones I could find. This was for a water bottle ice. It's shaped so that you would be able to put an ice cube in a water bottle. But I made these nice little chocolate delight bars. It was kind of cool. But Katie's tip was to go to just like a Michael's or a craft store and get these candy molds, which I did, and my husband put them through the dishwasher, which they shouldn't have done, so it kind of melted over here. But they're still good, and they were only like $1 each, so I can go back and get some more. This kind, if you can see, is it's kind of like peanut butter cups, and I'm going to put a little bit of chocolate delight at the bottom, put it in the refrigerator, let it harden, and then I'm going to put some sweetened coconut milk really thick kind in the middle, and then I'm going to put some more chocolate delight on top, and that will make a little like a Mounds type of candy, which I was craving the other day. And then these are kind of cool in that I do the same thing. I put a little bit of chocolate delight and let it, I don't even let it get hard actually. Then I put a mac nut in each one and put chocolate on top of that, and those are probably my favorite. These are my husband's favorite, these are my favorite. And then these little little bars were left over, but and then the ones that I put the chopped macadamia nuts in, those were the best actually. Those were really good. So I'm going to do chopped macadamia nuts again. And for my twists, I'm going to try a chocolate raspberry, because I have chocolate raspberry stevia, and so I'm going to use that in one of my batches. And then in the other one, I'm going to do some cayenne pepper. I have a friend that had a chocolate store up in Bellevue, up in the east side in Seattle, and she used to send these candies to my husband, and for me actually. And my favorite were the hot ones, and I'm sure she put cayenne in it. So that's my experiment for today, is to put cayenne in one of my chocolate delight trays here. So I'll report back to you later on that one. Okay, now I've added the cocoa to the coconut oil, and I'm going to mix it slowly because the powder tends to splash out, and it will stay in liquid form. Okay, you'll notice my 3 trays. I've already filled up the middle one with the chopped macadamia nuts and the liquid chocolate delight. The other 2 I just filled partially with liquid chocolate delight. Now I'm going to be putting them in the refrigerator. Okay, the last thing that I want to show you is the finished product. Here's the ones with the mac nuts. Here's the ones with the coconut cream inside. Here is the mac nut bars, and I've got some spicy bars down here. My brother had some when he came. He's visiting from Florida, and he loves hot stuff, and he tried my cayenne, and he said it's not enough not enough heat. So I could barely taste it myself. So you know, I guess it's just good for you is what it is, because cayenne's good for you. But this is really good stuff. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.